All right. Hello, peoples. I am just getting my stuff together. Give me 1 second. All righty. Welcome. As some of you know, I am Doris. And this is my wrestling live stream. Come on. I'm talking to my pop-out chat because it seems to not want to cooperate. There we go. All right. Hello, peanut butter. Welcome. How are you? Glad you finally made it. So how is everybody's? Hello, Gil Skills Live. How are you? Welcome. How's everybody doing? Everybody losing their mind yet? Not much. Working and watching wrestling, and that's pretty much it. I've been trying to do videos all week, and between this weekend I did a SmackDown video, and just as when I started to edit it, my editing software crashed, and I had not saved the video yet. So I lost the entire recording, and I did not have the oomph to redo it. So, and then hello, Monica. How are you? Thank you for coming. And then I was going to do a Monday Night Raw video yesterday, but if you watched Jimmy's live stream, we were having major internet issues and he kept going off. So I didn't want to screw him up by putting even more load on our home video, on our home internet. So yeah, that's why I haven't. Hello, beautiful Lisa. Thank you for coming by. Glad everybody could join. But yeah, so I was planning on redoing videos, but like it's just been technical issue after technical issue. So I'm hoping to hopefully do one for NXT tonight. I still might do a Raw one. I was recording Raw earlier today, and I lost my internet connection, so it ended up recording because I record it on my computer, obviously. And I had, unbeknownst to me, recorded about an hour of a black screen that said, "Looks like you've lost your connection," when I checked on my computer again. So that was why I was like, well, I got to go live anyway, so I'm not going to bother doing it. I might try and do a Raw tomorrow too. Either that or I'll just go right to NXT and try again to do a video. But yeah, so that's how my week's been going. How is everybody else? Everybody been watching wrestling? The Money in the Bank pay-per-view seems like it's going to be quite different this year. I don't know if it's going to be like a almost like the Undertaker AJ Styles match. Yeah. Gil, are you working? Are you an essential or just busy doing stuff for YouTube or Monica, see what I got? I was like, it's my chance to drink. Besides when I go, oh nice. I wish I had that option. I'm in the healthcare field, so I don't have that option. But I will be drinking with Lisa on Friday. Hello, Seth. Thank you for joining. But yeah, apparently money in the bank this year. I'm trying, Gil. I'm trying to stay safe. I'm trying to keep my household safe. And thankfully, I work in a prison. So it's not like out in the hospital where all the sick people are going. Unfortunately, once we get a case, it's kind of like a big petri dish. So it just grows and grows. But thankfully, my prison, knock on wood, does not have any cases yet. And we're trying to keep it that way. But I don't know if we will be able to. But so far, so good. We've had a couple of staff members come in with it, but obviously they're being sent home. But yeah, so we're trying to control it, and any of the inmates that leave the institution, we put on quarantine for 2 weeks just to be on the safe side, not know like if they go out to the hospital or whatever, as soon as they come back, they get put on quarantine and are not allowed to commerce with the population. We're on lockdown too, so that kind of limits the exposure. They've canceled visits but yeah, I have 2 sisters that work in a hospital in nursing, and they're crazy. So we are trying our best to prevent that from happening. But yeah. So I watched Monday Night Raw yesterday. That was an all right show. It's still so weird without the audience. It's still so very quiet. And I know I kind of like it like that, but at the same time, it's weird. I don't know. I think Peanut Butter watches wrestling. Seth watches wrestling. Lisa and Monica don't. Lisa knows old wrestling. Monica knows the Bella Twins. But yeah, so far it's crazy everywhere around here. And no one knows when it's going to end and what's going to happen. But it seems to be dying down a little bit here. We have less cases every day. But yeah, so we are going to see at Money in the Bank, we are going to see Seth Rollins go against Drew McIntyre for the championship. And apparently the Money in the Bank ladder matches are going to be at their corporate headquarters. It sounds kind of weird, but apparently they're starting in the basement or on the bottom floor. And the contract is on the roof. So they will have to go from the bottom floor to the roof to win the match, apparently. So it's not just a regular ladder match. Sounds interesting. That's why I think it might be more kind of like the Undertaker AJ Styles match. I don't know if they're gonna pre-record it. I'm assuming they might, because that seems kind of chaotic. But I don't know. I haven't really heard. I did hear one thing that McMahon is thinking about going back to recording or pre-recording the shows. I don't know if he's doing that because they can edit the videos, but they didn't do too good of a job on editing WrestleMania. As we talked about last week, some of the matches they had at WrestleMania were absolutely absurd. Okay, Monica. Thanks for dropping in. And I'll see you later if you come back. But yeah, so I'm kind of watching half-heartedly. I watch it to watch it because it's on. I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as I used to with the audiences, but I'm sure as soon as they start having audiences again. Hello, my sister Donna. Thank you. Okay, Monica. Thank you for coming in and sharing. I appreciate the love. But yeah, so Money in the Bank sounds interesting. So far we have, for the women, we have Nia Jax, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Dana Brooke, unbelievably. And who, somebody got in tonight. I forget who got in tonight. I know that's awful. But Liv Morgan beat what's her face, Ruby Riott tonight. I don't think that was a qualifying match, but I think they still need 2 people for the women's. Rey Mysterio, I think, got into the men's. I've heard that NXT stars may be involved in the ladder matches. I have not confirmed that yet. They really haven't said anything yet. So I'm not really sure on that one. But yeah, so Money in the Bank should be interesting. It's funny, we're still having major wins here, so if I go out, you know why. But Jimmy connected me directly, wired to the internet, so hopefully it will not go out because I'm not on Wi-Fi, but we'll see. Because we kind of live in a valley, and normal winds are kind of like hurricane winds here. When it gets windy, it gets really windy, which is part of the problem we had yesterday. It was so windy that, and everybody in town was saying that they were having the same issues we were. So it wasn't just us. But yeah, it seems like Shayna Baszler's back to her arm breaking thing. They said that she broke what's her face's arm last week. Sarah Morgan broke her arm last week, and she broke another girl's arm today. It was kind of like a squash, or Monday. It was kind of like a squash match. But yeah. So that's like one of the things that irritates me. They bring her up from NXT. They put her against Becky Lynch for the title. And now it's just she's facing nobody's. She's not really facing anybody that is name. like Sarah Morgan is, but she's not like a top line wrestler. She's kind of like a mid grade, if that. I see her as like kind of like a fill-in type of thing. Other than her small 2-week feud with Charlotte Flair, they really haven't done anything with her. And on Friday, I was very surprised that they had Dana Brooke beat Naomi for the qualifying match for the women's ladder match. I found that it was kind of funny because even Dana Brooke was surprised that she won the match. She was like hugging Michael Cole and saying, I won, I did it, I won. I thought that was kind of funny because she hasn't won a match in I don't know when. And right now they just have Drew McIntyre going against Vega's little crew there, Angel Gaza and Andrade and what the hell is that other kid's name? I keep forgetting his name. The new one. But I'm sure Drew will end up facing him next week because he faced Garza today. He faced Andrade last week. And of course, he beat them both. But yeah, so it's kind of still slow with the wrestling. I mean, they have more matches, but they seem to be taking longer than they did when there was a crowd. I mean, because obviously now they don't have a crowd to keep ramped in and keep loud, and so it really doesn't matter right now, but it's still a little crazy. But yeah, I'm kind of anxious for the Money in the Bank. Like I said, it should be different this year. At least the Money in the Bank ladder matches should be. They sound completely different. They're not regular ladder matches. When they were explaining today what they were going to be, I keep saying today, on Monday, I was kind of thinking, how are they going to do that? Because they was, like I said, they were saying that the match was going to begin on the bottom level and the contracts were going to be on the roof of the corporate building. And they're calling them climbing the corporate ladder matches. So they ought to be interesting, but I don't know how well they'll be. That's why I kind of think they're going to be like the Undertaker match. Hopefully they're just as good. I found the Fiend and Cena match okay. I didn't get as much enjoyment out of it as some of the people I've spoken to, but I mean, it was pretty good. They were creative, but I just thought it was kind of silly. And that's another thing that's going to happen at Money in the Bank. They are going to have Braun Strowman go against The Fiend. And also on Friday, the New Day won back the tag team titles. They had the opposite team members. So if you remember at WrestleMania, they had one half of each of the 3 tag teams wrestle in the match because I think the Miz couldn't wrestle or the Miz was sick or something like that. So this past Friday, they had all the opposite tag team partners wrestle. So it was Big E, The Miz, and Jey Uso, I think. And Big E ended up winning back the tag team titles. So the New Day are tag team champions again. And Andrade still hasn't defended his U.S. title belt since he has been back, which kind of irritates me. It's like, why aren't they defending their titles? I don't get it. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss have not defended their titles yet, but we've already talked about the women's tag team title picture. There's not really one. which I find quite silly. They don't have a big enough females roster to build a tag team picture. So I don't know why they brought in tag team titles. I think it's a great idea, but they should have built up their women's locker room first, or bring back ones they're not showing, like Ember Moon or Foxy. Those ones that they're not really, you don't really see on TV all that much. It's like, bring them back, put up some tag teams, defend the titles, make them something big instead of just having a team win the titles and have them, like, how long were the Kabuki Warriors tag team champions? They were tag team champions for a while, but they never had a match for them. The one match they did defend them, they lost them to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. But like, and where are Iconic? I haven't seen them in forever. Right? That Iconic? Right? Yeah, Iconic. I keep thinking of Chronic with WCW. Remember Chronic? Every time I say Iconic, I think of Chronic. So, I don't know. Is anybody interested in coming up on panel? I don't know who's actually paying. I know some people are probably having me play in the background, but if somebody's willing to come up on panel with me, I will share the link for a minute. I get yelled at if I keep it out there too long. Jimmy starts yelling at me from the other room. Some of you have not seen my new setup, but this is my new setup. We changed rooms. Sorry. I don't mean to make y'all sick. So there's my Divas poster. I got my WW thing. And my Undertaker's over there behind the door. So we moved my computer so that way me and Jimmy aren't back to back. So that way he can go up on panel when I'm doing a live stream and vice versa, and we're not interfering with each other. But yeah, it's very quiet if you notice. You might hear my dog every now and then because I'm in my bedroom and she's laying on the bed where she usually is. She's a sofa queen. Some of you have seen the Tilly. She is a sofa queen. But yeah, so not too much has been going on with the wrestling scene, but we have another pay-per-view coming up that I've been talking about a little bit. NXT is NXT. They have a light heavyweight championship tournament going on, which I kind of find confusing. So last week, they put out a list of superstars that they released. On that list was Drake Maverick. But Drake Maverick is in the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. And they're still advertising him in the tournament for tonight. How is he still in the tournament if they released him? That's what I don't understand. I'm confused. Is anybody else confused about this? Because I'm very confused about it. I don't understand why they're still advertising him in the tournament when they already advertised that he was released last week. I don't know. Like I said, if anybody else understands it, fill me in. But yeah, I'm a little confused about that. I haven't decided, like, unless they pre-recorded it, but it's kind of silly that they would release his name on that list when they're saying they released him and the tournament's still going on. And he's still being advertised in the tournament. But for those of you that did not watch Monday Night Raw, I think we are going to end up having a mixed tag team match in Money in the Bank. They haven't advertised it yet, but so I believe it is going to be Ziggler and Sonya versus Otis and Mandy, because them four kind of went at it again this week, or last week on SmackDown. Sonya finally showed her true colors. Hello, Witchy Jackie. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, so Sonya kind of told Mandy that she was the most selfish person she had ever met in her whole entire life. And that basically that Fire and Desire was always about Mandy, and Sonya was always having to save Mandy, and Sonya never got to show her own skill because she was always promoting Mandy and protecting Mandy. So I found that quite interesting. So yeah, I think that's going to either that or they will have a mixed tag team match maybe this Friday night. I don't know if it's going to be a pay-per-view type of match, but I'm sure there will be a match between the four. What else happened on Friday? They had The Fiend leave a gift for Bray Wyatt on A Moment of Bliss. He left his black sheep mask in a present that Braun originally thought was from Alexa. And he opened it up, and it was the black sheep mask. And then Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend's laughter, kind of played over the loudspeaker. He never came out, but he laughed over the loudspeaker. Trying to think of what else happened. Like I told you, I started doing a video and my editing software crashed before I got to save the video, so I lost all the footage and did not have the desire to record another 2 hours. And then, as you know, if you watch Jimmy's stream, hello, Joseph Gruhl. How are you? How was work? I'm assuming you're still working, because I know you usually get home around this time. We're just kind of talking a little bit about what's been going on. Me too, Joseph. Kind of tired of working, but I keep telling myself I just had 6 weeks off, so I can't really complain. But I picked a crazy time to come back to work, but I'm dealing slowly but surely. Oh, you were off today. So why are you late, Joseph? Seriously, man. And then last week you were late. You took off. Oh, all right. You were cleaning the house. All right. Fine, Joseph. Fine. Excuses. You had some ice cream. You were late because you had ice cream. Joseph. Really? Don't mind my red face. I keep scratching my face because I wear a mask all day at work. So I come home and jump in the shower and like scrub my face. And yes, at least you are here, Joseph. Woo! But it takes me forever to get rid of the feeling of the mask on my face because I still feel like icky. Very nice. So Joseph, Monica says it's more like you were fighting. You were fighting through the house, sticking it up. And your girlfriend was probably behind you spraying Lysol or something. Trying to spray your bum. So, Joseph, have you watched Monday Night Raw and SmackDown yet? I know you watched them later. I was trying to remember everything that happened on SmackDown because I was telling everybody that I tried doing recordings and my editing software crashed on the SmackDown recording before I got to save the video. I don't know why I didn't save it to begin with. But I didn't, and I lost all my footage for Raw, SmackDown, and didn't feel like recording the 2 hours again. And then, so it's been really windy here. You're not too far away, so it's probably been windy where you are too. And our internet has been in and out wicked bad. And I was recording Raw. Seth Rollins, I don't like his new gimmick. Especially where they've kind of broken up because the AOP is out because one of them is injured. So I'm not really crazy on his new gimmick. I think he makes a great heel if he's got the right gimmick. When he had the group, yes, I did like it. But now that he's by himself, like Buddy Murphy isn't really with him, he still comes out to Seth's picture on the Titantron, but you don't really see them together anymore. And I think I forget which one is injured, but one of the AOP guys is injured. He has a torn bicep or something. So they've both been taken off. So they're not with him. So yeah, I think by himself, I don't think he makes that great of a heel. I think he makes a better heel when he has, I think it was Reza, now that you say that. Yeah, he tore his bicep a couple of weeks ago. And so he was pulled out of Mania, or they were pulled out of Mania. They were originally supposed to go after the Street Profits for the tag team titles, and that ended up not happening. But yeah, so I like Seth Rollins as a heel. I'm not so crazy about this gimmick. I liked it when he had the followers, but now that he's by himself, it's not as good, I don't think. Because how can he be a messiah if he doesn't have followers no more? At least have Buddy Murphy follow him around again. And they should team up to go after the tag team titles again. Unless they have Buddy Murphy interfere in his match against Drew McIntyre at Money in the Bank. I know, I was just saying that, Joseph, that it's going to be a little bit different. And I'm kind of interested in seeing how it's going to go, but I'm also afraid of how it's going to go. I'm afraid that they're going to drop the ball on it and it's going to suck. I'm hoping that they do it kind of like an Undertaker AJ Styles match for Mania, and they do it more like a kind of like a movie type of thing. But I don't know if they'll do that because, right, Hardy off the top of the ladder. Yeah, Jeff Hardy hasn't been in the qualifying matches though, or not that I can, unless he's in this Friday nights, because I know there's still, I think, still 3 openings for the ladder match for the men. But they got to put Jeff Hardy in it. Jeff Hardy makes the most awesome ladder matches. I bet Vince does want to push him. I think there's going to be something between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Maybe those two will qualify. because apparently Sheamus is getting pissed off that after the last 2 weeks, at the end of his match, Michael Cole has been talking about Jeff Hardy because they're releasing small clips of a interview that Jeff Hardy did about his problems that he's had in the past. No, I did not see that Peyton Royce was released. So that's why they haven't been around. I thought she was a better wrestler than what's her face? That other one there. Billy, I forget her last name. But yeah, I thought Peyton was better than Billy was. So I wonder what they're going to do with Billy now. She going to go back down to NXT? Probably. Oh, okay. Okay. So they're going to release their one of 3 women's tag teams when they have tag team titles. That's smart. Sorry, I keep wiggling my table. So it's shaking my camera. But yeah, I hadn't heard that Peyton Royce got released or will be released. I know they're letting go of people to try and save money. Because they're afraid of the no audience, no income type of thing. So now all they have is the TV money coming in. But like their WrestleMania, that money, that had to have been a lot of money that they ended up losing. I mean, I know they got the insurance money from Florida canceling it, but yeah. Yeah, it is. To let go of people and then give raises. It is silly. I mean, they're even letting go of announcers and referees. It's not even like, and some of the names that they let go were like guys that were in like wrestling now. Like it's just kind of weird. I don't understand how they came up with that list. What did they pick names? I mean, I get that the Revival were asking for their release, but to release like freaking Maverick there and a few other people that were yeah, but the thing is the Revival wanted to be released. They've been asking for their release like for a year and a half. So I think WWE had a choice. They could either wait till the contract expired and they were going to leave anyway, or release them when they could to save their money. Oh, Gallows and Anderson. Yeah, like I don't get it. Like I don't get why they would release. They're some of the ones that I don't get why they released them. They had a pretty good thing going with AJ Styles and being the OC. Yeah, they were good. I mean, and it's just straight like I saw somebody posted a copy of the letter that was sent to the people they let go. And WWE had said that like once everything is over that maybe some of them could come back. But it's like, why would you want to? Knowing that, I mean, that would be like you being one of the first people cut from your job. And then 2 months down the road, your job comes back and says, I'm sorry we let you go. Will you come back? It's like knowing that they could fire you so easily. Why would you want to go back and take that risk all over again? You know what I mean? I mean, why not release people that you're not using? And mainly because those people don't make that much money. So they weren't going to save that much money by releasing them. I do too. That's where sometimes I'll like talk about things that they announce, but I don't always, because some of them I don't believe, or I don't agree with their opinions. Like there's one that I watch, it's entertaining, but he's always wrong. It never comes out what he says. What he says is going to happen never happens. But yeah, so that's what I mainly like. I'll watch the YouTube stuff just to see, and if like more than one of them has the same story, then I might talk about it. But if only like one of them has the story, I won't, because some of them are just, I mean, I use my opinion too, but I don't report it like it's news. I always say it's my opinion, and you can either agree or disagree. I don't care. Everybody has their opinion. But yeah. I mean, I don't, it almost makes me wonder where I could see that. I could see Daniel Bryan winning. Nice, Joseph. You get any good ones? So Seth, he's on SmackDown, so he would go for Braun Strowman. Right? He's on SmackDown, isn't he? Yeah. So he would go for Braun Strowman. I don't know. Although the two of them have faced they even teamed, didn't? No, they didn't team. It was him and Rowan that teamed. But yeah, I could see Daniel Bryan winning. But and another thing that I find confusing is, so at Mania, Daniel Bryan said that he was going to quarantine himself. And now all of a sudden he's back to wrestling. And I don't understand that. Did they force him to come back? Because from what I've heard, they've been supporting superstars' decisions of like leaving it up to the superstars whether or not they wanted to wrestle during this time, and supporting them if they did not. Like with Roman Reigns, they supported his decision to pull out of WrestleMania because of his past history, which I support 100%, because he is immunodeficient. His immune system is down because of the chemo. So he would be at an extremely high risk of not only catching the coronavirus, but dying from the coronavirus. But I got a rookie card autograph. He's the 4th best prospect. Nice. Yeah. Well, that's like, this past Friday, Sheamus fought a jobber. As a matter of fact, when I was going to do, after I lost the recording, I was going to do just a talk recap, and I played back my cable recording, and I don't even think they said the guy's name. He was just there. He was basically an enhancement talent that. But yeah, some of the people they have as enhancement talent or jobbers are big guys that I think could be mainline wrestlers if they wanted to put the time and effort into them. But I think they would have a lot of backlash if they started bringing new people on after letting all those other guys go. But yeah, I think Vince is kind of worried about, I don't know why he's worried about the WWE, but I mean, I know it can't be cheap to produce the wrestling and all that, but they still have some money coming in. I mean, they are, I think what they're doing is they're kind of answering to their stockholders now. I think their stockholders are pushing them to curve their spending. But if anything, that could be their downfall. Is instead of worrying about the product and the people that support the product, i.e. us, they're going to listen to their stockholders and get rid of talent that are bringing in their supporters. And that is just going to cause their supporters to start supporting their competition when their top wrestlers. She was supposed to be on Monday Night Raw. When I was cooking dinner, I had it playing in the background. I don't know if they actually had her on, but I know they were announcing that she was going to be there. But like I said, I had started cooking dinner during it. So I don't know if I actually heard her. But I know they were saying that she was supposed to be there. And then I know, was it last week I saw her? I think it was last week. Yeah, no, they really didn't talk much about Money in the Bank. They mainly talked about the corporate ladder match, and they had the qualifying matches. I mean, we still have time, though. I mean, we still have, today's the 22nd, so we have 9 days left. So they have almost like 2.5 weeks left. I mean, I know because it's on May 10th, I think, right? That's me, Joseph. Sorry. I was playing with a chain that I have on my desk. But yeah, so they still have like 2.5 weeks to talk about the other matches. I know that all they've really talked about so far was the ladder matches, and then they announced the I was playing with one of my chains and it was on the table and Joseph thought it was you. It's your fault, Jimmy. It's always your fault. But yeah, so I think I mean, not only that, but at the Money in the Bank, because they have the 2 ladder matches, they I don't see them having much time for other matches. So they're gonna have the 2 title matches, and then they'll have the 2 ladder matches. And we still have time for them to announce women's title matches. I don't know who each one would face. I still see Sasha Banks and Bailey blowing up and Sasha turning on Bailey. I can still see that. But then again, I think Tamina is supposed to be facing Bailey. But I don't know if that's going to be a Money in the Bank or not. Yeah, I could see Asuka winning the women's ladder match. I'm hoping that Shayna Baszler doesn't win it because I don't see. And then again, Nia Jax is in it. So Nia Jax, unless they all team on her and take her out early on, although going up the corporate building stairs, I can see her getting kind of winded unless she's been building up her esteem or her her oomph. I mean, and like, so do you think they'll break up the Kabuki Warriors, Joseph? If Asuka goes to win the women's ladder match? Because that'll take her out of the tag team picture. I mean, unless they do try to go to Asuka 2 belts like they did with Becky. And I'm almost wondering what's going to happen with freaking Kairi Sane, because they've kind of had her get squashed these last couple of weeks when she's been on her own. Yeah, it's almost like they're making it out like Asuka is carrying the team, because it just seems like they're not putting Kairi out like she's able to fight her own battles. Like, remember when she was in NXT, she won her matches and she had the insane elbow. Yeah, I'm sure they still will be friends. I mean, it would be cool to see Asuka back on the singles picture. It would be kind of cool to see Asuka and Shayna. Because if you remember back in the WrestleMania match or the Elimination Chamber match, they kind of had a pretty good little going there. I mean, yes, I know that Shayna kind of took her out, but at least Asuka had some type of defense versus the other women that were in the match. But I think it would be cool if they started a rivalry between them two. So maybe one of them win the title and the other one go after it, like either have Asuka or Shayna win the ladder match, go against, although they're on different, right? No, they're both on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, they're both on Monday Night Raw. So they would end up facing each other if one of them won the match and went for the title. Monica, why, Monica? Why? Why you no stream, Monica? No, I don't either. And that's like I was saying earlier that I didn't like how they did it with her. So they bring her up from NXT. They have her win the Elimination Chamber match, and she was like dominant in the women's chamber match. She goes against Becky Lynch, and Becky kind of, hello, Shagoos, lemons cakes, how are you? I'm glad you're having a good. Oh, you hope everyone else is having a good night. We are. We are. I hope you are. But yeah, so Shayna kind of dominated the Elimination Chamber. Then she goes against Becky and doesn't do too hot against Becky. I mean, they had some back and forth, but not much. And then now all of a sudden she's facing a bunch of jobbers. I don't understand. Are they going to build her up to say that she's undefeated again? Which drives me absolutely insane when they do that. Like they have them face jobbers and say, oh, he's undefeated for this many matches. So, Shagaz, what do you think about the wrestling going on? Do you watch wrestling? I think you do. Sometimes it's hard to remember who the wrestling fans are and who aren't. Like I know Seth and Joseph are, and there's a few people that I know are. They're not here or they haven't said anything yet, but we've just kind of been talking about the recent shows and upcoming pay-per-view and what our thoughts were on it. But yeah, Joseph, I totally agree about Shayna. And I'm still curious as to what's going to happen with uh freaking what's her face, the rowdy one, Ronda Rousey. Nice. That's the worst part. When you go grocery shopping and you have to figure out what to eat. And it's like part of you doesn't feel like cooking because you just got done grocery shopping. But then part of you is like, I really should cook because I just got done grocery shopping. I just spent all that money on food. When I go grocery shopping, especially if I go after work, I cheat and I get one of those rotisserie chickens. And then I'll come home and I'll either reheat a leftover side that I have in the fridge or I'll make like a pot of instant rice to go with it. So yeah, I cheat. Well, and usually I do it because a lot of times I go grocery shopping right after work. So by the time I get home, it's like 6:30. And it's like at that point, I don't want to cook. Right, like I'll get something to eat, like like I said, a rotisserie chicken or like something I know that's like heat and eat, something that's wicked easy to do and will only take a few minutes to set up. But yeah, that's always the worst. Like I said, you're like, I just spent all that money on food. I should really eat at home. But yeah, So nothing really new going on in the wrestling scene. I mean, we've kind of been just shooting about Money in the Bank. The ladder matches are going to be different this year. That's a good idea. Go with the burritos. Save the steaks for another night. Save them for tomorrow. You could always spice them up and marinate them tonight for tomorrow. They're always so much better when you marinate them overnight, or I think so. Maybe not. Some people don't agree. Like Jimmy doesn't always like his steaks marinated. Sometimes he likes them just the way they are with a little salt and pepper on them. I haven't been watching AEW either, Joseph. Not because now that I'm back to work, it's like with doing this, doing my videos, I have just about enough free time to watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And then the nights that those shows aren't on are the nights that I do my videos or my live stream. Although I do my live stream on NXT night, but that's because so many people show up. And no one else, I mean, some other people do live streams on Wednesdays, but not as much. And I don't interfere with James. Although on Thursdays, I could do it on Thursdays because I would be done in time for his because he goes on so late. Yeah, well, that's like I work 40 hours at the prison and then I work for the guy I take care of. I haven't been working there on Tuesday nights because he don't like when I call him that, Monica. He always says, only my mother called me that. But yeah, I haven't been working there on Tuesday nights because he's afraid of the virus. And I'm like really the only one that works for him that has a I don't know where he's at. Sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. That's like Mascot. Sometimes Mascot shows up, sometimes he doesn't. Raven was late last week. He came, I think he came about 9:30, I want to say. Nice. No, I like to put not necessarily Gouda, but I like to put cheese on my burritos too. Cheese makes everything good. Yeah, there's a few people that I'm just assuming that people are just starting to lose their minds, and some people that are at home, all they do all day is YouTube because there's nothing else really to do. So by this time they're all YouTubed out. Yeah, cheese makes everything better. Jimmy always lectures me about my love for cheese. And I always say my doctor says at my age I need more calcium. Especially I have brittle bones. Brittle bones. But yeah. But yeah, tonight is kind of weird. There's people on here that don't usually show up. Yes, Monica, cheesy and bacon make everything better. Yes, sir, they do. Like even when I buy those frozen pizzas, I always add more cheese. And I make it like an extra cheese. I put cheese on everything. Like that lady with the Frank's Red Hot, I put that shit on everything. Yep. Sometimes if we have a block of cheese, sometimes we'll buy like cheddar and I'll just cut it up and just eat it. I remember when I was growing up, my best friend's mother would always buy 2 blocks of cheese because it would never fail. We would make nachos or something, and I would always cut big chunks off the cheese and just eat it. Yes, cheese. So Jimmy, you gotta go because Jimmy's not a cheese lover. Jimmy will actually eat a hamburger without cheese. Believe that? That's like sacrilege. He'll get like a Big Mac or a Whopper with no cheese. Sacrilege, I tell you, sacrilege. But yes, I love me some cheese. But yeah, now we're on to food. Conversation always goes to food or bathrooms. Ever notice that? Always goes to food or going to the bathroom. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I say, Joseph. That's just cruel. The hamburger needs a slice of cheese. Sometimes I'll even put 2 slices. If I make my own hamburgers, I'll put 2 slices on mine. I make a grilled cheese, 2 slices. Yep. It's always Jimmy's fault. This is the only time for 20 years I've heard it's your fault. No matter what happened, I could like not even be around when whatever it was happened. And he'd still jokingly be like, it's your fault. So now on my live streams, it's Jimmy's fault. No matter what happens, it's Jimmy's fault. I'm glad we agree, Joseph. Oh, I forgot, Monica. Dilly dilly. Joseph, he probably ain't even watching no more. He probably has me playing in the background. He's on somebody else's live stream by now, talking in their chat. He'll pop over every once in a while. It's just the way he is. He's a 2-time YouTuber. Two-timing. That's what he is. So, Joseph, do you think Paige is going to come back? I'm not sure. I kind of thought so when they were like having her talk about Bailey and issue challenges from other stars to Bailey. But now I'm not so sure because she's kind of fell off the scene, kind of. I was thinking I want to, maybe tomorrow night when Jimmy's on his live stream, I want to start watching that Big Show. A couple of people that were here last week said it was pretty good. A few people had seen a couple of episodes. The 2 of you with remotes. Last time you were up here, you were trying to convince her to get the remote for the TV. Well, tell her I said hello. I know she's been up here once or twice. Or in here, I should say. Yeah, I kind of had mixed feelings about her. I liked her at first. and then kind of like I kind of went back and forth. I didn't like her. I liked her. I didn't like her. I liked her. It's funny. Sometimes a lot of times that happens with some of the superstars. It's like I'll like them for a time, and then after a while, I think I just get sick of them, and I get sick of the storyline they're in at that time. But yeah. Yeah. I like her accent. But we already have enough people with accents like Drew McIntyre. Yeah. Like I didn't like her as a general manager. Um I liked her in the beginning of her WWE thing, like when she first came up from NXT. All right. Make sure you give us a rating on how it is. But yeah, so like at first when she first became general manager, I was like, "Oh, cool," cuz I like when they have old wrestlers as general managers cuz I feel like they know more like what it's like to be in the ring and um so I kind of like when they have retired wrestlers come up as general managers. I prefer that than having the McMahons because they always start a storyline where they're the authority or the corporation, and it just pisses me off because like there's nothing anybody can do about it. At least an old wrestler, somebody could beat the crap out of them, and they could take it. Nobody's beaten the crap out of the McMahon since Steve Austin left. Like I think Steve Austin would be a cool general manager. He'd be Stone Conan, you know what I mean? Stunning people, giving them the Stone Cold Stunner. As long as they don't do like they did with Mick Foley and make him look like a jackass. I hated that when Stephanie McMahon got involved and made Mick Foley look like a jerk, like he was weak. That would be something. Now I'm thinking about all this stuff. What about like Undertaker? Undertaker is like a general manager or a sheriff. Kind of like when they did when Eric Bischoff was in charge and Steve Austin was the commissioner or whatever it was, and Steve Austin could change Eric Bischoff's decisions and like have McMahon as the controller and then the Undertaker as like the commissioner. Yeah, like who the hell is gonna stand up to Undertaker or Stone Cold Steve Austin? Nobody. Nobody. So I think that would be cool if when Undertaker finally retires from in ring. Yeah, he would. And he'd like make himself appear behind them when they go to leave after telling him off. And then have Kane come out as his co commissioner. Now we're talking crazy, but yeah, like I think the same thing. I think it just got like I can see them come out of it. Like I used to love back when uh freaking McMahon had the corporation and like it was him, Stephanie, Triple H, and Linda McMahon was their like enemy, and she would come out and she'd be like, "Oh no, this is what's gonna happen," and she'd like piss all over their parade. Like I loved that. Sometimes I wish they would have Linda McMahon, come back out on TV. I know she can't because she's kind of like in a political like thing, and now she's like the CEO. But yeah, like I think they should make it interesting again, because like now it's just weird when the wrestlers are able to make their own matches and like there's no law or there's no one to penalize anybody for getting involved. Everybody just does whatever they want. There's no one to come out and be like, no, for that, you're going to do this. But yeah, it would be. So this week, speaking of the corporation, it's supposed to be some kind of celebration for Triple H and his 25 years. So it kind of like, see, now the more I think about it, it's kind of screwed up because why did they do that for The Undertaker? The Undertaker has been in a lot longer than Triple H. Yes, yes, she was. But like, it's like when she came out, and then when like Stephanie was general manager. I'm going way back now. It was like 2000, I think, or 2002. Um, when they had the father daughter match, and Undertaker was kind of Stephanie's power. Like she would use the Undertaker, or the Undertaker would save her from certain circumstances, and like it. I kind of like when they have like a yin and yang in control, because then you kind of have somebody to when one person's pissing you off, there's somebody there to be like, no, this isn't going to happen. You can't do that. I'm changing that. You can't use your authority to do this. Like, I liked that. And I think it made it interesting. But I think a lot of it has changed since back then because now they're a public traded company versus back then in the 90s, they were a private company. You know what I mean? Like, and then they became public, so now they have stockholders to answer to and investors, and like back when it was only the McMahons, they could do whatever they wanted. Hi, babboos. Dear my babu. Oh, wrong side. Dear my baboos. Yeah, I do remember the Bushwhackers. I don't know if there was some parts that got trimmed, but in my Howard Finkel remembrance video, there was one where he was dressed up like the Bushwhackers and he came out to ringside with them. There was some small clips out of that I ended up having to trim because they were going to block it. Howard Finkel, the Fink. Another one lost. But yeah, I liked it better back then. I mean, I know I say this all the time, but it was so much better back then. And I know it's not just me because most of you agree with me. Yes, my Thomas. My Thomas. Bumpus, there's nowhere for you to go over there. There's nowhere for you to go. Joseph said hello. Yeah, the Bushwhackers were cool. Like back then, they just did crazy stuff. And I know some of the shit they did back then they can't do now. Showgaz. A fink around my way is a snitch. The nerdy guy that teamed up with the Bushwhackers. I don't know. I don't remember. Let me see. See if I can. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, Joseph. I mean, like there was I don't know if he actually wrestled with them for a match or two, but I know like I was saying Howard Finkel came out with them and he would be at ringside and get in the ring for them with them. And I know that he had a feud with what the hell was his name? The nerdy little dude. The nerdy little manager that had the glasses. Um Oh, was it the Genius that teamed with them? Lenny Poffo? See, now I'm going to try and think of that manager's name. Uh, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Genius was kind of weird. And I remember when they tried to redo that gimmick a little bit, they had the teacher there that would come out with the chalkboard. Stark, I think his name was. Um and he would like write on the chalkboard and call everybody imbeciles. The Genius kind of just told poetry. But yeah. So Jameson was the manager of the Bushwhackers. So the Beverly Brothers had the Genius as their manager. And during their feud with the Bushwhackers brought out Jamerson or Jamie-san. Yes, Matt Stryker. Remember, he used to bring out the chalkboard and he would write on the chalkboard. And then he was a bad guy for a while, and then they tried having. He was probably in WWE for like 2 years, maybe 3. Yeah. But yeah, so it was Jameson Joseph that managed the Bushwhackers for a short time. But yeah, the good old days. Did you ever notice we always start talking about the old wrestling? Always. It always reverts to the old wrestling. Which is fine with me because I like the old wrestling. But that's the cool thing is, like, you guys all know the same wrestling stories I know. The Red Rooster, yep. That was such a stupid gimmick. Oh my God. That poor guy. And then he stayed on with the company for a long time after that. He was backstage. He was one of their authority figures, or like whatever you want to call them, the coaches. Yes, he did. And that's the sad part. It's like the ones that are good wrestlers, it's like WWE screws it up by giving them an awful gimmick. Yeah, Showgaz, it is. It's completely overproduced. They like take all of the, because at least back in the day, I think more of the wrestlers had more creative control over what they did. And now it's more scripted, it's more, all right, this is what you're gonna do. And so I think it's almost like I'll still watch it just because, but it's definitely less entertaining now than it used to be. Like, I can remember I couldn't wait on Monday nights or Thursday nights, or like when it was on Saturdays. Like, you couldn't wait for those nights. But yeah, like some of the gimmicks they came up with back then were stupid, but they were entertaining. Hello, Gary. Good. How are you? So I don't know, Joseph. I'm assuming it's not going to be until all the other sports events go live. Um, and I know they're debating that now. They're not really sure when they're going to, or at least from what I hear of reports, it's kind of conflicting on when they're going to do large gatherings like that. Some people, some doctors or experts, I guess you would call them, are suggesting that the government wait. Yes, Joseph, I did. And I'm not happy. I did hear about the NFL news, and I'm not happy. So yeah, I'm just assuming that they will open up to live events. I mean, I can't blame them if they waited till next year, and that's what some of the experts are suggesting they do for like extremely large gatherings like that, like concerts or sporting events. Just because, I mean, with bugs like this, there's always second waves, and people that weren't exposed in the first spread of it will get exposed like weeks after. And then if you open it up too soon, it's just going to reopen a whole new pandemic. But yeah, I mean, I love Gronk, but I'm kind of, I have mixed feelings about it. I don't like the fact that for the past year he has said that he isn't in his playing weight and he would never be, it would take him months to build back up to his playing weight. And then all of a sudden, Brady signs with the new team and it's like, oh, I want to come back out of retirement, but I want to be traded. He did not really wrestle at WrestleMania. He hosted it and he pinned what's his face there? Mojo Rawlings for the 24/7 title. So between now and the start of the NFL season, I'm assuming they're going to have him drop the 24/7 title. So because if he signs with the NFL, he's not going to have, not if he did sign with the NFL, he's not going to have time to wrestle for the WWE. He may be just like an ambassador, maybe they'll keep him in like a ambassador status. But I don't see him performing because I don't think the NFL is going to allow him to put his body in jeopardy by wrestling along with playing football. Exactly. That's what I think too, Joseph. I think he's asking too much of his body. I know when he broke his back and then he broke his neck, they basically told him that, from what I heard of the interviews, that if he takes a big hit the wrong way, he's going to end up paralyzed. And at least with being retired, I think like it's, I don't want to say that he was protected with the Patriots, but they were willing to pull him out if they needed to. I think now that he's with a different team, someone is going to want to make a name for themselves, and especially a rookie or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's just, it puts too much on the line. I think he's got too much to lose. Exactly, Joseph. They're not as stringent as they used to be, and I'm sure as far as the weight, I'm sure between now and August, if he built up his calorie intake and his workout, that he could get back up close to his playing weight. But I don't know. I just think there's too much on the line. I think he should stay out when he's healthy and can make a career of doing other things. I know a lot of Patriot fans see him as a backstabber. I really don't see him like that. I mean, yeah, I'm a little conflicted about it, because he did continue to tell us that he would never be able to play again. He didn't want to play again. But I'm more worried about his physical well-being than I am anything else. Yep. I mean, I wish the best for him. Same thing with Brady. I don't hold it against them. I know a lot of Patriots fans do. I don't. I tend to see both sides of it. I understand why the Patriots let him go. As speaking of Brady, and I understand why he wanted to leave. But I think it's exactly like kind of use him. I know. And that's what I keep telling myself. I mean, and I know they have their own market to protect, their own image. They have to keep themselves in the limelight in a way. But at the same time, I thought it was pretty funny that Tom Brady got a rude awakening yesterday. He was in a park in Florida and they booted his ass out because the park was closed. If that was Boston, they would have been like, "You need anything, Tom? We'll give you whatever you need." Yep. But in Florida, they were like, "Excuse me, Mr. Brady, the park's closed. You need to leave." Yes, Gary, I agree. Um, exactly. Like to us, it's a game, but to them, it's their money making capability. It's their livelihood, and they have to, like I said, keep themselves in the limelight so that way they can do all of the endorsements and things that they will do for the next 50 years. Well, I don't think he was in trouble. They just told him he needed to leave the park because all the parks were closed. Apparently, he was in a just like a neighborhood park. It wasn't like a state fair park or like um it wasn't like a Six Flags or Disneyland or anything like that. It was a community park that he was exercising in. And they got a report of it, and someone approached him and told him he needed to leave. Yes. I know football's like God to them, but Tom Brady is not God to them. Tom Brady was God when he was in Massachusetts. Yeah, they even played a clip of the person that was the one that told him he had to leave. And that was basically, she was interviewed apparently, and that's basically what she said, that she got a report of someone being in the park, and the parks were supposed to be closed, and she went over and asked his name. He told her who he was, and she told him that the parks were closed and he could not be there. Yes. Especially college football, right? Like all the colleges. What are they going to do? No, all the colleges shut down. Hopefully they'll be back open for football season. Because I know that colleges are like all about football. Yeah, the only reason I know, like, I only know about it because it was Tom Brady and he came from New England. Other than that, I don't really keep up with other teams and who they sign and who's on their roster. The only time I really know anything is when they come from New England. Cause I'm a Pats girl. Good, Shane Dog. Thank you for joining. We are doing well. We are keeping healthy. I am still working, but managing to stay healthy. Right, Joseph. Like the colleges put all their money into their football teams. And like the communities where those colleges are, that's all they care about is their college football teams. Really? That'll be cool. I wonder if it's going to be like the baseball, because I know they were saying that at the Major League Baseball league is thinking that they are going to they're going to have games with no attendance, audience attendance, and the players are going to be required to either be tested or get a clearance as far as like temperatures and things before the practice or the games. Really, Joseph? So somebody tries to. I know Chris Cross has made his debut. The first week he was on was 2 weeks ago. He kind of watched Johnny Gargano leave the auditorium. And then last week he attacked Champa, Tommaso Ciampa. So maybe that has something to do with this. I don't know who the wrestler is that got kidnapped, but Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah. Monica is too sweet to be sour. And Monica, that's fine. You don't have to know a lot of wrestlers. I appreciate you listening or even just having me play in the background. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying masked people tried to kidnap a wrestler. You don't know Macho Man, Monica. Oh, because you never really watched wrestling. I forget. So Monica has never really watched any wrestling, not even old school wrestling. She's not a wrestling fan at all. She knows the Bella Twins, and that she knows some of the female wrestlers because of Total Bellas. Monica, Macho Man did Slim Jim commercials. He was all over the place, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. He was on every Slim Jim commercial. They had Slim Jim displays of the Macho Man. He had like a cowboy hat, like type of thing. Um, and he always had like tassels hanging from his shirts and yes. Well, it's good that people are starting to respect the whole distancing thing because I know when this first started, people weren't. Um, and I think that's why it started getting out of control at first. And now that people are realizing and they're starting to respect the whole distance thing, it's kind of starting to tone down a little bit as far as new cases and new deaths and things. Joseph, if she says no, I'm going to have to go across the country and beat her because everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is. I know she's in somewhere in California and I can probably find her. I know it's big, but I'll find her. You can't even spell it right, Monica. I know that was probably just a typo. Love you, Monica. she may know who the Undertaker is because of one of the tapestries I have up. I have one of the Undertaker. Other than that, I don't know if she would know who the Undertaker is. Because, like I said, she's not really a wrestling person. The dead man, the badass. I kind of remember the Undertaker. What about a Randy dude? A Randy dude? Let me see if I can try to display a picture of Randy Savage. I'm sure if she sees him, she will know who we are talking about. Let's see. Try to find a good one. All right, let's see. Let's see. I know Jimmy showed me how to do this. I don't know if I will be able to, but we can try. All right. So let's see. All right, Monica, I'm going to go to his picture because I think it's actually showing it. Let's see. All right. All right, Monica. So that right here is Randy Savage. I think I did that right. I think. All right. Oops. Stop sharing. All right. So did you see, Monica? Oh, so you don't know who Randy Orton is, who freaking Savage is, but you know who Randy Orton is? Really, Monica? Really? Seriously? Although Randy Orton is hot, but no, I don't want to scare her. Joseph, the Bushwhackers would scare her. No, Randy Orton isn't older. Randy Savage is dead, Monica. Randy Orton's like younger than I am. Hello, Captain. How are you? But no, Monica, Randy Orton is not older than Randy Savage. Randy Savage is probably was probably 25 years older than Randy Orton, I would guess, because he was like 50, 60 when he died, and Randy Orton's like maybe 38, 40 now, and still wrestling. And Randy Orton's dead. Died of a heart attack. I'm not saying keep your mouth shut. I just thought it was funny that you thought Randy Orton was older than Randy Savage. When in fact, no, he's not. Yes. When he died, yes. When he died, he was 58. If he was alive now, he would be 66. So, Monica, what happened was he had a heart attack and while driving his car and crashed his car. and died in the car crash. Well, died of the heart attack that led to the car crash. Dexter Lewis. I don't remember Dexter Lewis. Who is Dexter Lewis? Oh, with the dream. So that was a long time ago. Oh, I know, Gary. Jimmy's father had 2 of them, I think, or 3 of them. Either 2 or 3. Oh, maybe I do remember Dexter. I think I remember the name. Yes, he's the guy that don't blink. Right? And he's creepy. He comes out to like creepy music and he has that blank stare on his face and he don't blink. He's creepy. Dexter's creepy because he don't fucking blink. Yes. I know who you're talking about. Oh, yeah. Kamala got wicked freaked out about the worms. He thought the worms were creepy because they were like the snakes that Jake the Snake had, just little. Oh, Booger, not Boogeyman. Never mind. Booger. I still can't believe they named one of their wrestlers Booger. Yeah, Kamala was good. Was cool. I used to always be like kind of not afraid of him, but when I was a kid, I didn't like him. I was scared of him. Yeah, he did hate Jade Snakes, but at least he never splashed him. I do remember Booger. He was kind of that gross guy. Although back then, a lot of them were gross. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's weird that Jake the Snake is back with AEW. And I know he's only back there because of DDP. Because DDP helped him out so much. But damn it, WWE is the one that saved him. Yep. Coco Beware and Frankie. Yes, Skinner, the alligator hunter. Do you know the guy that did Skinner also did Joint the Clown for a short time? I saw an interview with him. I think it was on YouTube. And he said, like, at one point they would basically have anybody dress up as Doink if the original guy didn't. Yeah. He said that he played Doink for a little bit. I think it was when they had the 2 Doinks. It was at one of the pay-per-views. So it wasn't a long stint. But yeah, he said they would have other wrestlers dress up as Doink. So there was like 5 or 6 different Doinks during that whole stint. Sorry, I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but I hit my microphone. But yeah, and he said that he had done Doink the Clown, and there was like one or two other gimmicks he had, but he was like, but I'm best known for Skinner. Yeah, he actually was the one that ran the Florida training facility before it became NXT. Abdullah the Butcher was crazy. Him and his fork. I know there's a lot of guys that are gone now. Yes, I remember the oddities. Abdullah the Butcher still does some fairs, at least around here. Yep. Him and Vashon. They have books. And you can buy the book and they autograph it. Jimmy never lets me go to their tables because he's mean. Yes, he was, Gary. He was a professor. He was also a high school math teacher. So he did college classes and he did high school classes. The one man gang. Woo! I know it was different type of woo. It was more like a oh or a hole. Was that more like it? Kevin Sullivan had some creepy, like when he was part of the WCW one with Jimmy Hart, and when Woman was the fallen angel, back when they had their back when they had their little like ritual people. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for coming. Thanks for hitting the like button. Dungeon of Doom. Tawny. Dungeon of Doom. Yes. Tony, if you have time, I would throw in the link for you if you want. Joseph. That's fine. Uh oh. I think I actually screwed that up. Sorry about that. I screwed myself up. But yeah. Hey, squirrel. Hey, look, squirrel. But yeah, a lot of the guys that like wrestled back then, a lot of them are gone. Nice, Gary. See, it was really cold here today. The sun was shining, but it was really windy and cold. So it probably would have been a good day here shooting because there would be no way to. The wind was like so strong today. So God only knows where your bullets end up. It snowed here yesterday. It was raining all day and then it turned into a snow rain mix. Yeah, see here it was like freaking hurricane winds and shit. Thanks, Mike. I'm glad it was nice where you are. Gorgeous, as a matter of fact. Although you guys deserve it because you had all that flooding and shit and early snow last year, didn't you? Oh, 25 yards. That wouldn't have been too bad. Yeah, Mike, it was 32 here, and they said it felt like 22, I think. So that was just from the winds and the wind chill. It was really windy and cold, raining yesterday. Yep. Where I live, it was 32. Captain, we had that too. And then today we just had the wind, no rain. The sun was shining. I don't know. I was just saying today, remember 2 days ago it was like 60 degrees or at least like 57 or something like that. Monday it was gorgeous out. Tuesday we had like rain and winter weather mix and wind. It's crazy. Like Mother Nature is like going through menopause or something. She can't decide what she's gonna do. Like even right now, you can still hear the wind howling, and it's been like that all day. Well, she needs to find a better way to do it, Joseph. That's kind of cool, Gary. I never heard that. The harp playing with the weather. It's the harp playing with the weather. Jimmy just walked by. That's why I looked over. But yeah, the weather's been crazy. Like it was kind of nice over the weekend. It was a little bit breezy, but not like it was yesterday and today. Yeah, we didn't get a lot of snow. It was cold a lot of days. That first storm that we saw, we got 3 feet where we live. Oh, okay. I thought he meant harp, like the music instrument. I did not know that. I never heard of that. I bet Mike likes old school wrestlers. Although he probably don't have time to like because he don't have time to watch TV now. He too busy out farming, taking care of the cows. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about for like the last hour, Mike, is old school wrestling. Yep. All right. There you go. And if anybody else, Mike or Captain, if you'd like to come up, come on up. Giant Gonzalez was kind of gay, in my opinion. Hello.
What's going on, Doris? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I forgot to mute the stream. There we go. So what's going on?
Not much. Not much at all.
No.
Just chilling.
Yeah, here you there. I'm trying to do the same. One of those days.
Yep.
But it's over. Well, almost over. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the good part of the day. It's nighttime when I get to just go do what I want and forget about what's going on. Gotta go there.
Yep.
What the fuck is going on in wrestling? Because I haven't seen it in weeks, and like, it's like the fucking New Day of the Champs again or something.
Yeah.
And the hell else did I see? Did they ever reveal who that person was?
On the main roster, no.
No.
That whole Starkle thing? Yeah, no.
Huh.
No, at the end of NXT last week, Chris Cross attacked Tommaso Ciampa.
That's
and
good.
they kind of did the same thing. They kind of just showed him off in the, like, on the side.
Is he the same one who attacked Gargano?
Yep.
Oh, so he's going after both the big boys, huh?
Yeah.
That's one way to get a guy in the main spotlight right away, I guess. Huh?
Yes, it is. I was wondering how they were gonna bring him up because he was kind of like a big name before he came to WWE.
And I'm glad to see WWE has finally given. It took so long, so many years. But hi, Jack. It took so long. It took so many years. But now they're finally recognizing that these guys wrestled other places. That like Kevin Owens talking on an interview saying he's been wrestling for 16 years. Like that would never have been allowed before.
No,
because Vince always wanted that allure of I found this guy, I made this guy. He always wanted that, and he always hoped that nobody knew who the fuck they were.
Well, since Vince owns most of wrestling throughout the world anyway, then yeah, he might have actually made the guys somewhere else and just brought them over.
Yeah.
Hi, Doris. Thanks for having me out.
This fucking guy, What's going on?
Yeah, Gary, like 20 guys got let go.
Oh,
yeah, they were having what do you call it? Exhibitions with nobody in the freaking in the arena. And then they stopped doing that, I heard.
No, now they're back.
They are.
Basically, the state of Florida deemed them as essential because they're entertainment. So now they're allowed to wrestle. They can't have an audience, but they're allowed to wrestle.
Yeah, I thought they were doing that in Stamford, and then they stopped it.
Yeah.
No, it's in Florida.
It's at their warehouse, their training center in Florida.
And now there's like this rogue employee who says he's being forced to work, and they're putting his life on the line, but he won't tell anybody what his real name is. So like people don't even think that it's a real employee. They think it's somebody just I don't know.
Right.
So they're not essential in Connecticut anymore. The headquarters of the WWE.
Well, apparently
but they're essential in Florida.
They're claiming that their Money in the Bank pay-per-view, 2 of the matches are going to be in Connecticut. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Social distancing.
They'll probably have just so many people.
Wrestling has always been about that.
So they're gonna have it's gonna be like an open hand on a pole match. So when you get the open hand, you put it on the end of a 6-foot 2x4, and then you slap the shit out of the other guy, and then you hold him down and pin him with it. You know, that's right. It's a hand on a pole match.
Exactly, Gary. Like apparently the state of Florida is saying that Major League Baseball is essential. Like they're basically making all their professional sports teams essential and saying that they're going to continue on with the games and everything without an audience because it's entertainment.
Oh no, but joint replacement surgery is not essential.
Right.
And that's why the governor of Michigan has now made it illegal.
Right. Mascot, hello. We were wondering where you were.
Hey, Mascot, how you doing?
The governor of Michigan's an idiot.
Mascot, there's the link if you would like to come up.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it Michigan where the governor is $1,000 fine if you get caught outside your house? And
I think so.
It's like pure. It's pure fucking.
Here in Connecticut, it's
Connecticut.
Anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 fine if you're out in public without your mask, and or imprisonment.
That's just crazy.
The governor is being sued because of it.
Yeah.
I can't even make this shit up, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't even sound made up because you're talking about Connecticut, and Connecticut fucking sucks. They want to stop.
Oh, they're suing the crap out of Ned Lamont right now, dude. They're like, no, you are a freaking moron, and we are not following this law. You
Joseph
can't.
Grohl says I have a permission slip to get home from work.
You can't make it a felony to freaking, and that's what it would be. It would be a felony charge to be caught in public without your mask. It's bullshit. And nobody's gonna go for it. That's why they're suing the crap out of them.
Even just the lame stay-at-home thing they have here, they have people like boycotting it. Like they're doing like what do you call it? Displays on it and holding picketing and
stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no square.
You can't touch me.
What the fuck?
Look it up. That's a real song, but they're talking about sexual assault.
My no square.
My no square. But my no square is not this thing. It's actually, down there.
Joseph Grohl, I think you asked me that the other day, and I hope that they do, but they're gonna have to follow. I don't know. I can't think that far ahead. Right about now is when they'd be opening it. So at any point in time, they may open it, but we're gonna have to see. I mean, everybody wants to reopen everything.
Well,
and,
Tony, what's this thing that you're talking about? Thinking ahead? Excuse me. I have to buy these stocks on margin. What were you saying about thinking ahead? What's that? What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like, I mean, we're seeing it already. Kentucky was the first state to have fucking protests.
Yeah.
And now they announced today they had the biggest spike in cases. And so I mean, you keep getting people together. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
We're in the hot zone, dude. Connecticut and New York are a hot zone. Mass is pretty bad too, but no. Connecticut is with New York City. So
yeah, I don't know. I know that we're they were talking about Massachusetts the other day, calling us a hot zone on TV, and that our governor
part of it too. You're part of the freaking northeast hot zone, dude.
We're up on the, coming up the top of the hill right now. We're adding so many cases every day. It's crazy.
2 days in a row, our freaking numbers were actually down it started to go down a couple of days in a row, but then it freaking spiked again. So,
they were saying 100,000 to 200,000 people might die, and then they said, it might only be 60,000. But if you watch the deaths,
don't follow the numbers.
Talking crazy. It's I don't know how it's going to stop there, but
not right now, at least, because this is the peak, and the numbers are going to do all kinds of freaking wacky stuff. There's way more people that freaking that been exposed to it that are actually showing symptoms. So
they're doing more testing now too. So of course the numbers are going to go up.
They best do the testing. They best freaking come up with a freaking way to freaking. Well, they have. They're testing for the antibody now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're doing antibody tests instead of testing for the disease itself. They're testing for the antibodies that we form against the disease.
Yeah.
And freaking, it turns out that there are a lot more people that have been exposed than they knew about, or that they even projected. But there's going to be a lot less deaths for the amount of people that are exposed.
Yeah.
Right.
Same.
Yeah. California figures it's got 250,000 more people than it's reporting that
Right.
actually have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they can't test everybody. California is
Right.
massive.
Well, not only that, but one of the counties.
So the
in
mortality rate's a
California-
lot lower than they think too.
Right. Because they're
That's
starting.
what I was trying to say.
They're testing for the antibodies, like Captain said, and they're realizing that a lot more people had it than what they originally thought. And they were testing for antibodies that were as old as, I think, like last September.
Yeah.
And that's how they're realizing that it's been around a lot longer than what they originally thought.
Yep. And a lot longer than China told us.
Right.
Just saying. Just saying.
The more and more I keep hearing about, the more stuff that keeps coming out. I have no doubt at all that China developed this. It I think accidentally got released, but it might not be, because I heard it was somebody that worked in the thing or whatever. Who knows? But I definitely think they were involved in releasing this, whether it was by accident or not, and covering it up. You know,
Joseph Girl brings up a good point. When Ned Lamont, our governor, does his freaking press conference on TV, does interviews,
he doesn't wear a mask. None of them do.
Where's your mask, dude?
None of them wear them. Yeah.
Huh? Where's your mask?
I haven't seen a governor yet with a mask on.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
We were talking earlier. We were talking wrestling and the being essential and all that crap. The thing that's pissing a lot of people off is that the decision to make WWE essential was followed up by a very nice donation to the fucking he's a Republican, I think, the Republican Party, or to his campaign itself. Vince McMahon donated to either that governor's campaign or to the Republican Party of Florida, one of the two, like 3 days after.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, so
Raw is war.
That's right. Gary, you're right, but unfortunately, this is part of wrestling because there is no live wrestling. Everything. I haven't even seen anything because of this fucking stupid thing. But
yeah,
I know. It's rough.
Like there's still wrestling. There's just no audience, so it's kind of weird. But
yeah, all the sports teams are freaking having their freaking day too. But there's nobody in the stands. Well, there was nobody in the stands for football anyway, so whatever. But anyway, yeah, all the sports teams are going to be playing this year, but there'll be nobody in the stands because no congregation, social distancing and all. Yeah. Well,
Doris, have you seen this?
Huh?
I think we're talking with wrestling, so I want to show you something wrestling. I think it's the Midnight Express, I believe. I'll
yes,
let it play
that
again.
is Midnight Express.
Boom. See, let's do one more time for the folks at home. And boom. That's lovely. Yeah, that'll make you fucking. That'll make you wake up with a headache tomorrow just thinking about that.
I call that a rung bell.
Yeah, and if you remember correctly, Gary, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. If you remember, do you remember? What was it? Triple H, when he was very young in his career, did a. Was that Beautiful, Bobby and Gorgeous? I wasn't sure what incarnation that was. He did a pedigree and spiked the fucking guy. The guy jumped way up in the air. Yeah, spiked himself, really, So instead of just you're bent over. You're supposed to just, when he jumps up, you're supposed to just kick your legs out. This guy, when Triple H jumped, he fucking jumped and shot his legs straight up in the air, so it almost turned like a pile driver, and he just spiked the guy straight in his fucking head.
Oh, did he break his neck?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. And then,
any one of those guys has the potential to do a lot of freaking damage to just about any human because they're monsters.
Yeah.
Look at Darren Drozdov.
It's not that they're necessarily huge dudes, but they're really super strong. You know?
A lot of those guys are, yeah. And Darren Drozdov is in a wheelchair now. He's all big and fat and fucked up because he got spiked. It was supposed to be the power bomb. It just didn't. He
landed.
He didn't do the sit up enough to get up and over, and the guy that was pulling him up and over couldn't pull him up. It didn't.
Yeah, they said he slipped or
something. Yeah. And then it ran on his head. And now he's paralyzed. He drives around with a straw. He drives.
It's not that hard for people in wrestling to slip because, well,
they're sweaty,
sweaty guys.
Especially back in the day, they covered themselves with baby oil.
Yeah, a lot of them used to wrestle baby oil.
And they shave all their hair off.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's how most of the accidents, like Steve Austin, Owen Hart broke his neck. I mean, that's not what made him retire. It got broken after.
You could see his head sticking out that far underneath Owen's legs.
Freaking Angle, he freaking won a bunch of gold medals with a broken neck.
I won the freaking Olympics with the freaking broken neck.
Come on, freaking.
Oh man.
Nice, Gary.
The seriousness of a broken neck. No, it is serious.
Hi, Gaffa.
Angle's a badass dude, you know.
A broken freaking neck.
Yep.
Gaffa, what's up, buddy?
I won the Olympics with a broken freaking neck.
Remember he did the song. He was singing. He was like singing with Stone Cold or whatever. And he's like, "And I want a gold medal with a broken freaking neck." This became his fucking catchphrase, you know.
Yep.
Broken freaking neck. Yep.
You know who I really like. Every once in a while, I come across a wrestler who I was like, "Oh wow, I really liked that guy when I was a kid or whatever." But you know who I really enjoyed in WWE was Ken Kennedy. I thought he was good. I enjoyed watching him wrestle. I love the old school gimmick where he'd come out and the mic would drop from the ceiling.
Kennedy.
Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy.
And then he went on and he was on TNA for a while. TNA like sucks the life out of fucking people.
Yep.
He was on TNA for a while. And then like now I see him on NWA, and I was watching NWA one night. I haven't seen that in a while. I guess they're not putting anything out right now, Doris? NWA?
I don't think they are. They might be starting back up, but I don't think, because I haven't had any pop-ups from them. I have them on my alert. So,
but I'm on there. I'm watching it the last few months before this bullshit, and I see this guy one night on the show, and I go, who the fuck is that guy? And I was trying to figure out who it was. I'm like, I must know who this guy is. Like, NWA's got a handful of like fat older wrestlers.
Yep.
And you're looking at him like, who is that guy? And that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, like, they would talk about him, like Ken Kennedy, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, that's Mr. Kennedy, you know? But looks like a pile of shit now.
Yeah, he's fat, doughy bitch. Whatever. Hey, man, both of my favorite wrestlers of all time are both dead.
Who's that?
Superfly.
Oh, Jesus.
Superfly was one of my favorite wrestlers. I got to shake his hand when I was a little kid at the Enfield Square. They had a little meet and greet. And not only that, my other favorite wrestler, and this is my all-time favorite, Roddy Piper. That's my favorite wrestler, but they're both dead.
Piper was one of my favorites too. I liked Piper a lot. He was just because Piper's whole career, you look at him, he wasn't, he wasn't, you know, he was in wrestling at a time when big men were what dominated wrestling. You know what I mean? Big men. What's up, mascot? And Piper was in that. He was in that era, but he still made it because he was I mean, you probably love him, and it was one of your favorite wrestlers. The same reason I did. It's because he was one of the first people to actually come across as a character, and his character sold him. Without that character that he portrayed, and without him being able to portray that, he wouldn't have been anything. So, but yeah, Piper was great. Who was your other one? I'm sorry. Oh, Jimmy Snuka. Yeah, I disagree with that one. Snuka was a piece of shit. We went out to see the TWWF back in the day, which was like the federation that Vince had. I don't know, Vince Senior or one of Vince Senior's guys was running it. It was like Vince Senior's like farm league or whatever, but he turned it into a place where you could put the old retiring guys, so they'd have a place to still go on the road. So they'd come through Worcester once in a while, and I saw him at the Worcester Memorial Auditorium. I saw him at Worcester State College, and that's where I saw the Missing Link live. Missing Link was on that circuit for a while. So I saw the Missing Link out there, and the Wild Samoans were Captain Lou, and Volkov and Sheik were there for a little while,
Okay.
And so we went to one of the shows. We used to get there early, and we'd stand by there was a back stairway that went up to the thing at the Worcester Memorial Auditorium. And we would sit in the parking lot. My uncle would bring me, and I'd sit out there, and I'd be one of the kids running around. There was, a few families that did it, and the kids would wait, and when the cars would pull up, you're over to the car, and then you'd walk and talk to the wrestlers as they went in the building. You're all excited, And I saw Snuka pull up, and I ran over with a bunch of other kids, and he had a bunch of bags, and he pulled his bags out, and he was like, "Oh, you guys want to help? I'll give you $5." And everybody grabbed all his bags, and we all followed into the building. We were all proud of that 3-pecker puppy, man. And got up to the top of the stairs, and he threw all the bags in the door, and he was like, "Enjoy the show!" And he just closed the door, and crushed everybody's hats. Me and all the other kids were just standing there,
Wow.
He didn't say anything to us the whole way. He just walked up there, took the bags, was like, "Enjoy the show," and closed the fucking door. But we met Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. They were super nice. They were real nice, talking to you and stuff on the way in.
Sheik is a weird dude, man.
He's funny.
Yeah, but he was really nice to all the kids, though. He was really they were nice. They talked, And then
he wants you to grow up and be wrestlers.
But yeah, I was young, man, young kid. I was. What's funny is, I'm 45, and I remember when Bruiser Brody got killed. And I remember being devastated by the news because I watched Bruiser Brody on ICW. He would be on there once in a while on AWA, and he was a monster. He was a fucking beast.
I was so afraid of him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was just
he was a lunatic, man.
Right. And when he died, it was just I remember I hadn't seen him on TV in a while anyway because I think it was ICW. And that was something else was being played in that time slot at this point. Because back then you just watched whatever was on the UHF channels. That's all the wrestling you got. Yeah. And then I'd buy the wrestling magazines to keep up, And I remember buying the wrestling magazine, and Brody was on the cover, and it was the death of Bruiser Brody. That's how you found out back then because there was no fucking internet.
No, there wasn't.
Fucking Chet Curtis on the fucking nightly news certainly wasn't on there reporting. Wrestler Bruiser Brody got stabbed in Mexico.
Especially back then, it happened in Mexico.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
I mean, and if you watch the Beyond Wrestling things, the wrestlers were basically told stabbings were like colds in the U.S. that they happened all the time. They weren't a big deal.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Brawl. Look at Joseph Grohl.
Right?
Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah.
Yeah. He still does that.
Yeah.
I saw him in Worcester at the Centrum. And it was before he was on TV with the gimmick. And we went to a house show, and I guess they've been you find out later on, they used to test gimmicks at house shows, see how they went over. So we're sitting in the stands, and all of a sudden next to us, there he is standing there next to us, and he's got a sign, and he was doing the Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. He had his face painted like a baseball.
Yeah.
And and he was walking out the signs, on strike. Baseball was on strike.
He did that for a while.
Well, baseball was on strike. So while baseball was on strike, that's the character they had him play. He was Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. He was still a jobber, but they just gave him a personality, and he came out and was, you know. But I remember that I remember seeing that, and I was telling my friends about it, and then like 3 months later, there he is on TV as Abe Knuckleball Schwartz, and they're like, "Oh my god," you know. YouTube is losing it.
Gary, what happened?
He was Doink the Clown and Brooklyn Brawler.
He did play one of the incarnations of Doink, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's like I was saying, Skinner.
he was Steve Lombardi when we first saw him. When I used to watch
Yeah.
wrestling, he was just Steve Lombardi. And then they were like, he was a lifer. He was a lifer. He was a jobber. He's one of the best employees. He worked for Vince for 40-something years, you know?
Yeah.
And he was just he was a good hand to have around. You could throw him out there with anybody. He could make anybody look good. And he was just Steve Lombardi, and then he became fucking I don't know, the Brooklyn Brawler or whatever he became. It was something else. I can't remember what it was. And then it was Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. Then it was the Brooklyn Brawler. He was all over the place, man.
Yeah.
All over the fucking place. You know, his gimmicks. He was what?
He was Slugger. Remember, he always had a baseball bat, painted his face white.
That's what I'm talking about. He was Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. Then he might have been. I think he was a different one. Yeah, he was like Slugger or whatever. He was just a baseball player. The whole thing was fucked up. Whatever. He was a fucking. It was. They put all this time in all these gimmicks, and he was still just a jobber. You know, just an enhancement talent. But he was good at it. Sometimes those, like I said, I think I said this last week. Those are some of the best wrestlers you got.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Mick Foley took that bat, did all that wire around that. That's the bat from Slugger.
Ah.
Huh.
Yeah, Foley's a sicko.
Now Mick Foley passed it on Dean Ambrose to kick it up a little higher.
The Goon.
Yeah, the Goon didn't last that long, though.
No, and I forget who played the Goon. It wasn't.
He was one of those bad gimmicks.
Who played the Goon?
He could have been a good gimmick if they had put the time into it, but
Goon, who was the guy, a professional hockey player, but he was the most fighter in bras.
right. But who is the real person?
Yeah, but who was it? It was somebody. I thought it was somebody that
His
we
name
don't
was
know.
Ted. The original brawler was Ted something.
No, it was Wild Bill Irwin. That's who it was.
Oh, okay.
Wild Bill Irwin. That's who played him. I knew it was somebody famous. I watched Wild Bill Irwin back in WCCW, World Class Championship Wrestling, and WCW, and then he debuted in 1996 as the Goon in WWF. But he was Wild Bill Irwin. He was a crazy old cowboy. Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how many different people that the wrestlers played.
Yeah.
And then back then you had no clue.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of them.
Yep.
Well, that's why when Demolition debuted, if you go back and look at Demolition and how long they were wrestling, they were only around for like 2 fucking years. They were not around long at all. But they would just push as a fucking massive force. Then it got to the point where it was like, what do we do with them? Because we pushed them too hard. Like, the whole thing is fucked up when you look at the story. But the original guy that came up with the idea was Moondog Rex, I believe. He's the one who came up with the idea for Demolition. And they taped the vignettes in one match with him. And I guess it was obvious during the taping of the match, like the crowd was fucking chanting Moondog Rex, Moondog Rex. It was obvious then who he was, even with the paint on. So he's the guy who came up with the idea for the gimmick. And after the first match they taped, they told him, you can't be in the fucking team. So he couldn't even be in his own gimmick. They threw him out of it. Told him, fuck you. And that's where they got Barry Darsow and brought him in. So
Yeah,
crazy.
Hugh Morris was pretty good. But then WCW kind of lost that gimmick because they made him not as strong as they originally started him out as. And then I think he only stayed with WWE for a couple of months after that.
What was his other gimmick? He had another name, didn't he? It's Bill DeMott, but what? He was something else besides Hugh Morris. What was he? Yeah,
Right. They used to call him Humorous,
right.
but that was a play on Hugh Morris.
Why is this freaking playing? Damn
Why
it.
not?
I don't know why that
Was
started
he
playing.
gorgeous? He wasn't gorgeous, Jimmy Garvin, was he?
No.
No, Gorgeous George.
No.
He was a clean fighter. He didn't fight dirty. Back in the 70s or 50s, I forget.
All right, so I guess I was wrong. I thought there was something else, but he wrestled as Hugh Morris in WCW and World Wrestling Entertainment. And then he wrestled under the name he wrestled under Bill DeMott in WWE as well as his real name.
And then he was a trainer.
And he also performed as Crash the Terminator in both ECW and Japan. And then his most recent gimmick that he had in wrestling was as a trainer for WWE Developmental, which he resigned from in 2015 because he was beating the fuck out of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, they got too many complaints about it.
Yeah, he was a dick. He was a hard trainer, you know.
And
My football coach in high school was a complete cocksucker.
Yeah, and I think they gave him a choice. Either they could fire him or he could resign, I think.
Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. I used to love watching him. He used to come out to, I believe when he wrestled Solo, he came out to Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top. Precious was his manager. Yeah, he was good. My buddy sent me a clip the other day, and it's from WWF in I think it's 1986. And it was right when Beefcake had become the barber and turned face. And they were still trying to sell it. He had beat Adrian Adonis at WrestleMania 3. Yes, it was 86. And then he came out on TV and he had the fucking smock on. And Vince McMahon's doing commentary. He's like, what is this? What is the new smock here on Brutus Beefcake? We're being told now he wants to be called the barber. And it was you got to listen to Vince actually trying to sell a gimmick for the first time. He's trying to stick it on him, you know? And I never even knew the match had ever happened. But he on that episode, it was his first match after he beat Adrian Adonis and became Brutus the Barber. And he wrestled Luscious Johnny V. Johnny V was in the ring. No, not Luscious Johnny. Yeah, what was his name? Yeah, Luscious Johnny V. He was the guy who managed him and Greg the Hammer.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're mad at the Hammer. You're listening. He's like, you want to fight the Hammer, you got to go through me. So a vignette. But Luscious Johnny V had been retired from wrestling for 15 years at that point. He was just a manager. He was just collecting a paycheck. And he actually went in and wrestled. And I tell you, he sold like a motherfucker for Brutus Beefcake. He made Beefcake look good. It's a good match. Yeah, it was a short match. It wasn't very long, but it was. But watching it, I had such respect for Johnny Valiant, just because, he bumped well for him for his age, and he went in and Beefcake was, if you listen to the story of Beefcake, he was a fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
He had issues with the fucking guy. Then he got his face smashed. That was legitimate. Like some fucking woman was parasailing at the beach and fucking.
Yeah, it was a boating accident or something.
Yeah, he was
her thing snapped, and he was literally sitting on the beach. He was laying down, and just as he sat up, her knees hit him right in the fucking face and shattered his face.
Yeah, he had to have his whole face rebuilt.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he had facial reconstructive surgery and shit.
I remember.
I believe she died.
Really?
Oh yeah, she fucking hit him and just tumbled and fucking she died.
No, come on.
I'm pretty sure she did. Yeah.
Stop it.
Let me go to the info. She might not have, but I'm pretty sure she did.
Huh.
So Joseph, what about WrestleMania 10?
Beefcake at Hooters.
Let's see.
Parasailing accident and return. It was in 90. Oh, it was he was helping his parasailer friend Prepare to take off. When the driver of the boat mistook a cue for takeoff and pulled the friend's bare feet hard into his face, crushing it. Oh my goodness.
Huh. Yeah, see, I was told it was just some like fucking random kid come flying through the air and smashed him. I didn't realize he was helping. But either way, yeah, he got hit in the face with a fucking. I thought it happened differently, but still, either way, he did. I mean, his face was smashed, and they didn't think he'd ever wrestle again. You know?
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, it was like, I think he came back like 7 years later or something like that. 6 years later.
It was 3, I think.
3.
Either way, he did come back, yeah. And when that happened to him, he was, he was getting a big push.
He was in the prime.
He
Yeah.
when he
was
came-
the dude that would come out, and I remember this. I remember this because I read it, not because I remember it, but I remember this because I just read it. I remember he used to come out and freaking like for other people's matches, and he would just like run in and freaking jump in the ring and be like, bam, 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 and then he'd take off. And he was wearing a mask, and everybody's like, "Who the hell is that?"
That's when he came back. He had the protective mask on. That's right, yeah.
But
That was like
it was only for a short period of time, and then he was gone for like the rest of the time until '93. And when he came back,
Right.
yeah, he was pretty aggro.
Dude, he was like a big fucking chiseled painted monster, like he looked like they painted on a red fucking sunburn on him. He was all oiled up, he was jacked up the whole house, he could barely move, walking around over, he had a big beard and shit. It looked like he was a fucking wax statue. Fucked up. With hair. Not a lot of it, but hair.
Right? Like when he played the disciple in WCW.
Yeah, Gary, I've seen that as well. The sad part about that is Kamala got paid $13,000. Undertaker made. I don't know that it was $500,000. I don't remember that. That seems like an awful lot of money to pay one fucking guy. But I think it was $50,000 that the Undertaker got that night. But either way, it was significant. It was significantly different. But here's the thing. If Kamala hadn't wrestled the Undertaker in the main event that night and been the guy that got to take the fucking stare at the lights for him, he'd have made $2,000. So as much of an injustice as it was that he got paid a lot less than the fucking guy who put asses in seats, because he might have said 500,000. I don't think that's true though. I'm not saying. I think he recalled it wrong. He's a little old and loony now, but it's 2,000 or 13,000. You're getting main event booking, and yeah. I don't know. I don't think he gets screwed, but I don't know.
I still think it's hilarious that
He was a job of the stars.
I still think it was hilarious that Brutus the barber was like nobody did anything about him hacking people's hair off. Nobody.
All right,
Like,
Gary.
some
have
of
a good night.
them actually got away.
Yeah.
Like some of them actually got away and didn't get their hair cut.
Night, Gary. Be good, brother. Yeah, it was
Thank
weird.
you for joining, Gary.
Later, Gary.
That whole thing was
Right,
just,
because they had to be willing to get their hair cut.
Yeah.
and
It does grow back, but it looks goofy until it does. Yeah.
they didn't know what they were doing at the time. Luckily, he didn't wrestle a lot. We remember him doing the haircut, but it was only a few times because there wasn't a lot going on, And but like the match I saw when he fought Luscious Johnny, you can know with a pair of scissors, like a regular pair of barber scissors, and he was walking the ring like this because they're only this fucking big.
Yeah,
Like,
sometimes he only had a little tiny pair of scissors. Yeah.
and then they
Other
finally got
times
him.
they have those freaking
Well, they finally got
clippers.
him the fucking shears and they wrapped
Oh,
him.
let's go. I'll
He
be
was
back.
like a psycho. He was like fucking
All right.
Sweeney Todd,
No doubt, man.
All right, mascot. Thanks.
See you, mascot.
Later, buddy.
See ya.
Sweeney Todd coming out with them big
Bye
clippers.
now.
And what it came down to was they were the gimmick to sell the gimmick, and then he always had the cordless trimmers. That's what he actually used.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he would use that to clean it all up.
I remember one time he freaking, oh my God, did he freaking just ruin that dude's freaking wig piece, bro. I don't remember which guy it was, but he totally.
You know, it's
Nice.
funny.
Oh,
I don't know if it was on here or not. So if I start telling the story and it doesn't sound, you've heard it, just tell me. But I don't know if I told you guys or not, but my buddy wrestled Beefcake. Did I tell you about that before?
No, I don't think so.
Talked to him beforehand, and he was like, I was getting ready to get a haircut, and he usually cut the back and sides really short. So he told him just fucking take a bunch off the sides or whatever, and then I'll go tomorrow and have my barber fix it. And he said, but don't do the top because I get the top. I just get a little trimmed off so I can still style it, Beefcake's like, yeah, no problem. And the whole Beefcake got there when the show started. And he just sat by himself in the back corner, wouldn't talk to any of the wrestlers, and just sat there drinking. He had a fucking styrofoam cooler full of beer. Just sat there and got fucking hammered. By the time the match started, he was fucking drunk. Yeah, so beforehand, they're behind the curtain, and the ref and him and Beefcake are standing there, and he's like, all right, Beefcake's like, listen, man, he's like, it's your federation. You're the fucking champion. It's a non-title match. Because that's what they would do. They'd pay the big guys to come in, and they would beat the champion in a non-title match. That way you put them over. The champion gets the rub for facing the big fucking star and still gets to be the champ and all that shit. But so he's like, hit me with some of your moves, this and that. He's like, I'll make the comeback. It'll be quick. It'll be over. I'll slap you in the sleeper. First time you're in the sleeper, just go to sleep, But he's like, okay. So they get out there and, he tells him, like, give me your offense, whatever. My buddy goes in to start fucking putting some offense on him, and Beefcake just starts fucking hammering on him. Just starts wailing on him, fucking punch, kick, punch, kick. So then he throws my buddy in the corner and he runs in with a big fucking hard clothesline and kicks him in the fucking gut and dumps him on the mat, picks him back up, starts punching him. My buddy's fighting back, and Beefcake's no-selling everything he does and just fucking wailing on him, right? So my buddy rolls out of the ring, and the ref comes over and he's counting. He's leaning through the ropes, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? My buddy's like, fuck, dude. He told me to fucking do some moves. He's like, fucking he's wailing on me, The ref's like, oh, so the ref backs Beefcake up, basically tells Beefcake what's going on, and he goes back on my buddy. He's like, you said get in here and do some moves, whatever. So my buddy gets in the ring, and Beefcake just fucking lays on him, man. Coming through the ropes, he gives him a fucking high knee, and he fucking just starts wailing on him. So like, give him no fucking offense the whole match, no offense, right? And then finally, my buddy's like outside the ring again. The ref comes over and he's like, just tell him to put me to fucking sleep. Just end this. I can't. Just fucking tell him to put me to sleep. So he gets in the ring now, and now Beefcake's like my buddy's waiting, like, just end it, And now Beefcake's like kind of backing off, So my buddy's like, what the fuck? Beefcake's like, hit me with some moves, Like all of a sudden now, like he wants to, And as soon as my buddy goes for it, Beefcake fucking starts hammering on him again and shuts him right down. He's a cocksucker. He's a douchebag, right? So then eventually he puts my buddy in the sleeper. My buddy goes to sleep, and he takes the fucking trimmers and he goes fucking right down the middle of his fucking head. First fucking thing. And then he goes ear to ear and makes a fucking X on the top of his fucking head and just lays it down the fucking thing. He gets out of the ring and leaves. He had a fucking line up and over and a line fucking up and over.
Oh, shit.
Dick fucking move. Yes.
That sounds like a Beefcake move. He's not one for cooperating. He's
not. He's a bitch. Men on a mission. Mo, Oscar, and Mabel. Yeah.
Yep.
Because Vince couldn't come up with a better name for another name to start with M, because he wanted to have that MOM acronym because he's a fucking child. Well, Men on a Mission, MOM, Mom. We got Mo, Oscar, and then what can we name you? Well, I guess we'll give you Mabel. Yeah, instead of fucking Mark or Mike or whatever, you go fucking Mabel. But anyway, you got to give Mabel some fucking credit, man. Seriously. Like, he debuted in this Men on a Mission bullshit. He's like this 7 foot tall, 500-pound black guy with a fucking blonde mohawk. Weird, right? Like, he was just a fucking weird looking dude. Big fucking shiny, baggy purple tights, purple and gold. He looked like a fucking 500-pound tightrope walker. It was the weirdest thing. And then for a while, he got a singles push as Mabel. He became King Mabel. And then he came back as Viscera. And he went out there and had to show his big fat fucking tits They had him out there wrestling, just a pair of pants. He had these big tits that laid over his other tits that laid on top of his stomach, which laid over his other tits. I don't know. But then, but Vince tried pushing him and it worked for so long, but Mabel just couldn't go anymore. He just fucking I can't go anymore. I can't go out there and do it. I'm fucking out of breath. He's winded. He looks like shit. So Vince fucking kept him on to the end of his contract to let him go, and then he fucking died. And his fucking family is like, well, it's Vince's fault because he gave him the viscera gimmick and wanted to wrestle. Like, no, he was wrestling and he wanted to wrestle. Fucking, so he got a gimmick, and his family ought to be happy because he got paid very handsomely. He was one of the higher paid guys, and he was he had 3 moves to do him, So
That's it.
Hey,
Someone-
Seth. Thanks for coming back.
But now he's no longer with us, and I don't know who else. We just lost fucking the Fink, man. I'm still bummed about that.
Yeah.
Finkel hurt when Finkel died, when Heenan died, when Mean Gene Okerlund died. It's weird because they're like not wrestlers, but those are the guys that make wrestling.
Right.
The ring announcers, the fucking interview guys, the color commentators, those are the guys that add that spice to the show that make you a fan.
Yeah.
I like Mean Gene, dude. He was awesome.
It was
He
great.
was so cool.
Yeah.
So was Bobby the Brain Heenan. The Brain was awesome.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan on stage, like out in the freaking out doing what he does.
Doing what he does.
Packerhead. Ah, damn.
Yeah.
Total pack ahead.
Holy crap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He could make people hate him,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
especially
dude.
when he was a manager.
That's what I'm saying. What a dickhead.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, Bobby the Brain was great. He was a wrestler for a while, and then in the late 70s. I'm trying to remember. Like he was in a federation, and then I don't know. They just wanted to.
Was he NWA?
He was for a while. He was. I can't remember what territory he was in. He was, but he was around a lot, and then he got hurt. I think it was he got fucked up his neck, and then he wrestled a little bit after that. But he preferred to try to turn more into like the advisor role, the managerial, because of his fucked up neck, and that's he retired earlier than he should have as an in-ring performer.
Right. And I know that like a couple of shows I watched that he was on, he said that after he broke his neck, he was always afraid that something was going to happen to his neck.
Yeah. I
You'd
love
go
watching
out in the ring as a manager, and he'd run his mouth, and he'd get his ass kicked.
Yep.
Remember when Ken Patera wrapped the fucking towel around his neck and threw him across the fucking ring with it? Fuck. Yeah, I've watched a lot of old matches with Gorilla Monsoon. If you watch some old Gorilla Monsoon matches, those are good. He was like fighting a fucking bear. He was like a big bear in the ring.
Mr. Fuji was a trip. A little Japanese guy. He was really a wrestler. He really was like a big deal. For a while.
Oh yeah. No, he was. He was tag team champions with Tanaka, I think. Tanaka ended up being a wrestler who went on and went to do acting, and he was in Goldfinger or whatever, one of them. For Satoru Tanaka. And he was.
I remember my father, like that was way before my time, but I remember my father telling me he was a big wrestler.
I think he was a big wrestler in Japan, is what it was.
But they fought in Texas over here. They were champions. So I'm saying they were like the Japanese contingent when they came to the States to fight. Fuji fought over here with Tanaka for a while. They went on, they were going through the feds. But again, all the allure of all that and all that old footage and all that old stuff comes in days of yesteryear before Vince bought everybody out and said, "Fuck you, I'm making a mega federation."
We got Seth. We got well over 15,000 now. It might be upwards of 20. I'm not sure. Don't quote me because I after it got up like right under 15 grand, I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch anymore. I'm not even gonna freaking stay updated on the freaking numbers anymore because it's just
Connecticut has 22,469 cases.
Yeah, it's just making me sad, dude.
And,
I'm already a depressed freaking mess, for other personal reasons, you know, and all this shit happens, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Doris, you're looking fucking. You guys are looking good up there in New Hampshire, Doris.
Yeah.
We got 43,000 cases. You guys have 1,588 cases.
Yep. And we've only
That's-
had, I think, 27 deaths or something like that.
We've had more deaths than that right in this freaking area.
Yeah. It's because people in New Hampshire are smart.
We've had 2,182 deaths. We've had 601 deaths, and you've had cases.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But yeah, we've lucked out as far as that goes.
Oh man, Barry,
Seth, where are you at? Anyway, Ohio or some damn thing?
I'm right back.
Atom bomb.
Hey.
Atom bomb.
Talk about a freaking ugly ass wrestler. Look at that guy. Gary Busey. He's
Yep.
the only, like, one of the very few humans on this planet that acts like a crazy wrestler, but totally isn't.
Yep.
Like, what is even wrong with that guy? If you notice, like put your finger over one side of his face, Gary Busey's face on the screen.
Yeah.
Put your hand over one side of his face,
Yeah.
and then put your other hand over the other side, and then take the first one off, and look again. And it looks like a totally different dude, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because both of this, like, each side of his face, they don't match up. So he was in a really bad accident, right? And the two sides of his face don't match now. So that's one of the reasons that he's just like this crazy, ridiculous looking dude.
Yeah, he's a major alcoholic too.
Well, his alcoholism has nothing to do with it. It's just like he
it
got
does.
really messed up, and now he's like, he just looks like two different people on the same face. It's freaking weird. I love Gary Busey. Don't get me wrong. He's freaking nuts, and I freaking but he's harmless, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just like, but he's totally insane.
Yep.
Just saying.
Tajira. Joseph, what are you talking about? Tajira.
I don't know, but in some Spanish-speaking countries, when they laugh in the comments, they don't say ha 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 ha. They say ja 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 ja. I'm not kidding. It's weird. I'm like, why are they always ja 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 ja? Oh, because they're Spanish, and they J's or H's in Spanish.
Yep.
Ja 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 ja. Okay, I get it. I get it. All right.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that used to do the tarantula, the little Chinese guy or Japanese guy, whatever he was. Tajira. Yeesh. Poor Coach. Everybody picked on Coach. He was
Who's
a
that
jerk, though.
freaking the Japanese wrestler that came to WWE and used to spit green stuff on people?
That was the Great Muda.
Thank you.
He was the original that did it. And now a lot of them copy it. They're supposed to be like his students, but he was the original that did it.
He wore lots of red, you
Yeah.
know. What was that, like a decade or two ago?
Yeah, it was about that.
Yeah.
Who?
The Great Muda.
Oh, Muda.
Guy was freaking weird, and he scared the crap out of people, which was the point.
That's
Man,
like-
Yes, it was.
I used to like Hakushi.
Hakushi.
Yeah, he had the fucking he had the rows of fucking the rows of Japanese character letters written all over his fucking body.
Oh,
just
yes.
rows and talking about dedication to a gimmick, huh?
I
Yep.
still like
And
Coochie.
he flipped around and fucking
Yes.
I like the smaller guys when the bigger guys were popular. I was a fan of the 1-2-3 Kid. Love Spike Dudley.
Well, hang on.
Call them popcorn fat. Yeah, The Rock was pretty funny on the mic.
Yeah, he was good.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Did you ever heard have you ever heard the story of him and Steve Austin tell? Like, if you watch when Austin would give him the stunner and he'd flip up and over and land and end up on his fucking top of his head and fall back over or whatever, and they used to like they wrestled so much for so long that it became like this joke between the two of them where like The Rock would oversell the fuck out of the moves, oversell it to fucking high heaven. And, you know, if he impressed Steve Austin with how well he oversold the fucking move, like he oversold it more than anybody if you watch the old clips. And Steve Austin would buy him a fucking case of beer and they drink beer together and hang out. Excuse me. But either way, yeah, that was why The Rock oversold it so much because they would bet cases of beer on it. As the fuck, you know? Whether he could go and do it better than the last time he did it, you know. I don't know. But
Crazy.
popcorn fat. Yep. Lovely. Boy.
Yeah, and he used to always tell Lillian that she wanted his strudel.
Yeah. You looking at The Rock strudel?
Strudel? I love strudel.
Oh, he likes the strudel, this guy. Shit.
I hardly eat any snacks anymore, and if I do, I eat like carrots and celery or fruit or something. You know, I have
See ya.
things.
And you're back.
I bought a couple of bags of these things so I could have
There you go.
snacks, but that's pretty much it. I don't
Very
eat
nice.
I don't eat chocolate anymore. I don't eat sugary stuff. I don't drink soda. Nothing. Just going back to the basics, just regular foods. I don't even put sugar in my coffee anymore.
Yeah, I stopped doing that a while ago. Just fucking. I enjoy it. It took me a little while, but once I stopped putting sugar in my coffee, after a while, I was like, you know,
You got to
Just
have a
enjoy-
decent coffee too. You can't just
Yeah.
drink
Oh,
some
yeah.
random, you know.
No, you're right. You're right. You know,
Then you get to realize, wow, there really is a big difference between coffee brands.
yeah. And
Holy
we were
crap.
buying through coffee so much for a while that we were just buying Folgers and just fucking because we were wailing through it, you know. But we always have like a couple bags of decent like Lavazza or something like that sitting up in the cabinet. That way, if people come over and you want to make a nice pot of coffee, or you know, we want to have a nice pot of coffee on a Sunday or whatever.
Yeah.
But our coffee pot fucking got fucking smashed.
No,
5 kids, nobody knows who did it, but it got broken. And so our coffee machine, we have one of those Ninja coffee machines. Whatever. My wife got it for free through some things she does. That she was doing where she had a party and had like 8 people over, and they all drank coffee, and she had to take pictures of them drinking the coffee and using the coffee maker, and then give them coupons for like $50 off a coffee maker. And then we got to keep the one they sent us for the demo. So we have this fucking
yeah,
like,
yeah,
$200 fucking coffee maker. It's nice. Well, on the other side, it's got K-cups, so you can do single cups, you know. Well, so for like the past 5 months, our thing's been broken, so we just been buying what we've been buying lately is the K-cups from BJ's. It's the breakfast blend. It's a decent cup of coffee, and it's $35. But if you just watch every 3 weeks or so. They do a $5 off coupon on the fucking
That monthly
box.
thing.
So yeah, so you end up getting it for $30 and there's 100 K cups in it.
Nice.
So yeah, you're spending 30 cents a fucking cup, which is
That's
not bad.
I'll tell you this. My friend was getting rid of one of those Cuisinart coffee makers. Just your basic bitch. Just, just flip top, with the little basket and stuff, Fine, whatever. He had it for like half a decade. And
Right?
I've had it for that long myself, at least. And his parents had it before him.
Wow. And it still works fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It still
Right.
beeps annoyingly every time it's done. I'm like, so
It's just a great example, a great fucking example of they don't make them like they used to. We hear people say that all the time, and it's true.
yeah, and when we used to make fun of the yuppies back in the freaking 80s and in the 90s and stuff for buying all the Cuisinart stuff because it was pricey. But
Yeah.
you can't beat the quality.
No.
I mean, the stuff that should freaking last forever.
Yep, like they always say, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, it's true.
There's one Cuisinart that I don't have that I kind of wish I did, which is a mixing bowl because I want to start, like making my own baked goods in my own home. So I could freaking add and subtract whatever I want from my stuff, and I don't have to freaking deal with all the preservatives and nonsense that you get when you freaking buy something in the store. I want to go back to freaking like the days where that my grandmother grew up in, and freaking her and her family just baked everything, and they dug it out of the freaking ground, and they freaking got that flour from the grist mill up the street. Come on, man, come on. Not for nothing. My grandmother's 89 this year.
Yeah.
So I was like, like 70 something years ago, whatever, 80
Sure.
something years ago when she was growing up. But
Sure, she'd stop at the grist mill on the way from doing the wash in the local river. I understand. Do the wash on the rocks in the local river and then stop at the grist mill on the way.
a lot of them did. A lot of them did. It was a coal mining town, bro, right there in Pennsylvania. A lot of them did.
See?
Very poor people over there, man. A lot of them did. And there was and she grew up in right in the freaking coal mining district, right? And it was right on the outskirts of the Amish country that they have over there. And if you know your history at all, there's not just freaking the Amish that are freaking descendants of the Germans, but there's a lot of Scots Irish dotted around as well.
Yeah, I'm not big on Amish history, so I don't know my history. But I trust you. I'm sure you know what you're talking about because I just don't know enough about it.
Pennsylvania's got a lot of the Appalachia foothills and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So she woke up one morning, and then I'll shut up after I tell this story. She woke up one morning, and she usually looked across from her, and she would see her neighbors. And what she didn't see was the window or the windows of the house across the street. What she saw was the roof, and the chimney was just sticking up. And she's like, "What the hell?" She goes up to the window and looks down, and all of the freaking houses on the other side of the street had all freaking sunk into the ground.
Ah,
A shaft had given way.
Wow.
Because they had been digging like directly underneath the freaking houses, dude.
My
It's
God,
crazy.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and or it was already dug like that, and when a shaft finally gave, all the houses collapsed. So they're eating their dinner. Well, they're not their dinner, but they're eating their breakfast. She's sitting there with her mush, and she looks out the window like this, and she can see her neighbors in their freaking bedroom getting dressed, and she's just like, just goes back to eating her.
Oh my gosh.
She was like 12 or 13 years old. She's just like, oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you want?
Well, on the mush note, I'm gonna have to go. I gotta get
Yeah,
up early
I'm thinking
tomorrow
about
morning.
cutting down anyway. It's getting late.
I knew
I gotta
that.
get up.
I knew that would be a conversation killer.
No, it's just because I gotta get up at 5 a.m. So
All right. Well, yeah, I gotta get up at 6, so I understand. But you guys have a great night, Doris. Thank
you
you for having me
too.
on. I
Thank you for
appreciate it.
coming,
It's always good hanging
Captain.
out with
Thank
you, brother.
you.
Thanks for having me up.
Joseph Girl. Woo!
Every-
Seth. Everybody else
Woo!
is here.
Everybody in chat. Thank you. And I will hopefully get a video out tomorrow.
All right.
But yeah. All right. Thank you
All right.
guys.
See everybody.
Bye. Bye, chat. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining.